Hello friends, it's Chloe. Okay, so I finally found a software program for live streaming that I think I can actually work with. I'd been fooling around with another one and I couldn't tell what the heck it was doing. And then I found this other one that's a little easier to use and seemed to just jump on and go, and it was great. I got a nice little conversation with a um, YouTube friend here, Bella, and really helped me feel a bit better and more confident about possibly doing some live streaming. I mentioned a while back that I wanted to kind of focus on certain decks, certain themes, and maybe get some conversations going. And if y'all are interested in that, I'd love to get 2 cents. I know it's been quite a bit since I've been on here. All I can say is that the dark time of the year was not well. I usually really love January and February and the whole dark time of the year. Um, it's my jam because I don't really like bright lights and I'm not really comfortable in a lot of situations unless I can distract myself with a lot of jibber jabber, which is talking, interacting, and distracting myself with people and all that kind of stuff. And oh my gosh, I am definitely gonna have to put this in another position next time for recording. But it's been so long, and I've tried doing a few videos in that time that I've been off, but I kept feeling like I was kind of boring. And I mentioned before that I wanted to be more authentic, and I wanted to really talk about stuff I actually really care about. And I still, really love my oracles and some of the themes in my tarot, but everybody's like talking about things that I'm just like, hard to be in a conversation, but the views that I'm hearing don't really jive with me. Oh, and plus, I've been really excited. I got the Witches and Pagans. Um, I ordered it. I actually very rarely get magazines, but this one has quite a few topics that I'm very interested in. Like this one very clearly says natural paganism, and it has some writing about animism as a spiritual path and some other a couple of really awesome stories. And then, oh my gosh, for this art piece alone, I am so happy that I got this one. It's so pretty. And like the Triskel is like my favorite symbol. I have one that I've kind of tweaked to be a certain shape in a certain way with the different ends on each spiral. It has special meaning for me that I drew myself, and oh my god, it was actually my business art on a business card for a little while for me, but then I added an extra little curve or piece to it, and now it's a little bit different, but still pretty much the same symbolism for me. It's a symbol that's tried, or three different sets, a tri-set of meaning, so like 9 meanings or something like that. Uh, all about the Celtic thing in some senses, or some ways. So I'm also about to dye my hair again in either the raspberry that I did before, which was like a reddish purple, or a more blue-based purple. I haven't decided yet. And I have been playing with my Oracle shifters, the Australian second printing, because evidently they're not calling it a second edition. As per a major discussion I had with a Australian lady who had a difference of opinion. But anyways, I'm really, really loving the kind of borderless aspect of this piece. And the cardstock's pretty cool. I actually kind of missed the thinner cardstock of the other deck. I still have it, but I really like the borderless aspect of this one. And I really like the moon and the purple on the back of these. They're very comfortable in the hand, but I really liked how flexible and softer the other deck felt. This one's very sturdy, very nice. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, my first edition, the American edition I had, was kind of a friend, and I still play with it occasionally, but I really like the feel and the artwork. Excuse me. Ooh, Pardon me. So this is just my, hey, I'm back. I know it's been a bit, and I'm sorry for that. And I'm going to start including live streaming. I think that'll be a little bit easier for me, but I have to be careful about how much data or internet I use because I use internet for homeschooling, and we use just regular internet, and we use internet for our entertainment, yeah, whatever. So I may do recordings like the usual, but I am going to try to do them possibly live stream so that it doesn't take as much download time on my end. It seems to take a lot less time when you live stream it, so, and a lot less data. So I think I may have to go that way. And I am starting an readings on Aranum. I am not sure about the company where you can do webcam readings. And I am looking into opening an Etsy store, but I don't have everything set up yet. I would love any referrals to good resources on advice for that. I got hooked up, found some really cool ladies who are led by, oh my god, my thoughts are not in order enough. Anyways, I found another web channel on YouTube with some ladies who were offering some really awesome advice for those of us who are tarot entrepreneurs. I am more leaning towards oracles, but I still have my tarot, especially my animal tarots. I love them. And I'm really, really tempted by a couple tarot decks out there right now that are a little bit more modern in theme. And one actually came out a few years back. It's part of that Book of Shadows one. I think the first one was As Above and the second one is As Below. I'm interested in the As Below because it seems like it has a really neat blend of, say, pagan outlook on modern life. And I wanted one that had kind of a modern spin, a little bit like the Pagan Tarot, but I kind of didn't like some of the artwork in that one, and I have it, and I have used it, but I wanted something with that modern sense of everyday life in it, but still that earthly whimsy and all that stuff. So that's what I'm looking at is the Book of Shadows As Below. I'm not really interested in As Above, but the Below deck. And then the other one, Poppy Pollen has a deck coming out, or soon, if not already, that I was kind of tempted by. I have her original Wild Wisdom Tarot or whatever it was. I have the original. Loved it, used it for years, but it is more, it isn't like everyday modern type depictions. I will do a video so you all can see it. It's out of print now. It's kind of hard to get, but I still have my copy and I really love it. It's very vivid, bright art, but I just don't. It's kind of it's like one of the what I consider one of the first earlier oracle-ish tarots. It was called a tarot, but honestly, it's a little bit of color border base on the suits, and it has some really cool stuff. So I will be doing a separate video very soon about that one because I believe the Everyday Enchantment Tarot or something like that. Let me look at my paste notes here. Is coming out soon. I think it's called the Everyday Tarot or something similar to that. I will have to look it up. I'll leave a note in the info below of the title on that one when I find the title. I'm we're heading into spring. My birthday is coming up. I'm actually considered a winter baby. Early March is still winter, folks. And right now we had snow today, and that just confirms it for me. I was actually a late baby by 1 to 2 weeks, and so I was born in March instead of February, which I should have been born in. And I know, shoulda, woulda, coulda, whatever, but I always had an awesome affinity for amethyst. It's one of my favorite stones. And matter of fact, oh, my atmosphere is not where it should be. And so, yeah, I'm doing quite a few things, getting a lot of things started because I realized I'd been kind of in a funk since we moved here, and my husband, it was affecting the family and my kids and all this stuff. And really, we were doing all we could. And now my beloved elderly lady cat is going to be, it's like really, her health has been spotty, and we're doing everything we can afford to do for her. We even got her a tincture that helps with her blood pressure. She's having kidney failure at stage 2, so she's not too bad yet, but she's definitely struggling a little bit more than she used to. So I had to take a big heart to heart and figure out if we were going to do more, a kind of evasive stuff, or if we're going to let her move on should she get worse than she already is. We just can't afford it partly, and also, well, it just is what it is. She's already lived 23 years, and I think sometimes when it is time for an animal or a person to pass, it's almost more humane to allow them to pass than to keep struggling and almost doing more harm trying to keep them alive than allowing them the dignity and the peacefulness of a gentle passing. So it was a hard decision. She's still here, my little love bug, little cranky lady. She's on the bed over there. And we have a new member of the family. He is a bit of a, rambunctious little kitten. Another tabby. So we won't be without a tabby when she passes, but won't be the same. He's a totally different personality type. He is technically my son's cat, but he's kind of latched on me to a little bit just because I guess I have a bit better skills when it comes to cats. And my younger son, he's a bit more of a rough and tumble boy. The kitten does like him. He just likes to spend some time with me too. And so, yeah, we're kind of sharing him. And yeah, so lots of exciting things, lots of things coming up, including the Poppy Palin deck. Again, I'm still very divided. I'm actually leaning a little bit more towards the As Below deck. And, I've been trying to look at some of these newer decks that are coming out, and I feel like I was into buying too much. And I'm trying to take like a hard pause on that because I have other areas that my finances need to go into, but I still want to be involved in part of the community. And the other thing is I am studying right now a Celebrant's Handbook. I am practicing my rituals and stuff. I'm very, very homesick for my old church and being involved in my regular services. So I'm making a big effort to possibly become locally ordained. I'm not sure what that's going to. I might just do the ULC at first, the ordination online for right now, because I've already got a lot of training. I am ordained reverend back in Utah, but I don't know that my ordination carries out of state because a lot of the ordination was based off of being part of regular services at our church. So I'm not sure on that. And so I just thought I'd go ahead and maybe do the ULC, and then also get some training. And I'm trying to decide if I'm going to try to go through the ADF membership and clergy training. It's like probably a 2 or 3 year process, maybe a little longer depending on your pace. And then I have been researching a couple other options as well. But I just feel like I need to get in sync and get more active in my own spiritual practice, which I hadn't been completely not doing anything. As divination is a big part of my spirituality, I have also been doing a lot of work, as you've seen through the videos, of connecting with my local land consciousness and or Loki, however you want to call it, and trying to help my children get more comfortable in a new environment and different weather patterns and how that affects their play and interaction with others. And I'm really feeling like I need to do more ritual work and more service work, because that is where I really felt like I was being useful and help and more involved. It's interesting and a very there's a lot of people who practice Oh, excuse me, the craft, and there's even a very from, I believe, Ossetru or some Northern Ways group in the area, but there's not as big of I'm not saying that there isn't a pagan community. There definitely is more here in Olympia proper compared to some of the neighboring cities and counties that's right here nearby. Like Centralia, there's just not. Um, I've heard some very interesting things. Not much going on there. There's evidently a large population of Baptists in the area, which I find totally fascinating, and I'm wondering why that is. And I got to attend a really awesome winter solstice spiral walk at a local, I think it was a Unity church, but I'm not really sure. But I was a little disappointed to find out that it was basically a Christian church, but it was still really cool that they were inclusive of honoring the, I guess we call them the cross quarters, the equinoxes and solstices, which is what we mostly celebrate in my family's traditions here. So yeah, big ramble here. Sorry it's taking a little long, but I wanted to dip in and say, hey, I am here. I am coming back. And I actually have quite a few things planned. And it basically just becoming conscious that I was out of balance and needing to be more active. So again, I'm studying a Celebrant handbook right now to get some training in. I'm hoping to reach out and get more involved in some local groups. The problem is I'm not necessarily trained in craft. I mean, I've studied it and I've definitely done craft work privately, but not as a big group work. And I don't like working the four corners, so that's kind of a difficult thing. I mean, I know how to do it. I know what it is, but I'm like, why do I have to keep doing this? When I'm so comfortable in my land, sea, and sky ritual traditions that I do myself, and most people who participate them really enjoy how the energy flows around the ritual space and just how the energy flows through the people when they give my method a chance, working with the land, sea, and sky and the nature spirits nearby instead of doing like a sealed ritual within the circle and the cross and the quarters. I'm not saying it doesn't have its place, it's just not my path. And I'm really fascinated by some of the articles in here. They mentioned some other articles I think that were in a previous edition or elsewhere, and so now I think I'm going to be looking those up and seeing if I can get copies. So yeah, one of my first steps was ordering the magazine, and just after I bought the Celebrant handbook to help with my training that I'm doing on my own. And I'm going to be reaching out shortly to offer, some services to the community. I've done a few baby blessings and home blessings, clearings, and some other types of clergy services, pagan clergy services, I guess you could say, spiritual services too, especially in my old community back in Utah. But now I'm having to reach out and figure out how I might fit in here and what I can help with. And so it's just taking me a bit, as that can go. So on a plus note, I really do love this oracle. I'm having a really hard time using some of my other decks. I think I'm just going through a period where I need to work with one or two decks and just let myself do that. I don't know if anybody else gets maybe it turret burnout or just too many options and getting overwhelmed with having so many options, because I am a bit of a collector. I have a solid collection of, as I've shared, Lucy Cavendish. I have quite a bit of Big Druid collection of Woolworthington, and working with Philip Carcanum, I think the leader of the OBOD. I love my Druid Animal Oracle. I use it more than almost anybody I've ever met. I just haven't met anybody who uses it quite the same way I do, let alone as often as I do. And I really enjoy my animal decks in general. But I also feel that some of the decks I connect to very strongly are not always the decks that everybody else connects for readings that I'm asked to do. And so I am stretching myself a little bit to work with some of my other decks that are more friendly for different personality types. But I really enjoy the Oracle of the Shapeshifters. And so I'm just going to give you a little poll. Oh, this is awesome. Bats in the Belfry. You can achieve great things. This is really awesome for me. I hope it's helpful for others. You may be having a lot of plans you're putting in place. I've actually taken action steps, applying to some online services and stuff that I could be part of. I have set up a reading space that looks a lot nicer than just my corner here that I tend to do. This is my casual spot, you know. And if you have been considering actually taking the next few steps for whatever you're hoping to achieve or big projects you'd like to take on, this is a really awesome card of reassurance saying, yeah, you can definitely make this happen. You know, it's just being willing to strike out and get to those places that being up in the belfry, if you have an issue with heights or kind of sticking your nose out there and getting noticed, it can be a scary thing. But, you know, I'm a really interesting mix of introversion and extroversion. My extroversion is a coping mechanism for the oversensory aspects I have in my personality. My introversion is that I am actually far more comfortable without being out there all the time than, but then I get into mode of not being out there. So homeschooling is tricky because I have to definitely keep in mind how much my kids need the social time and activities and stuff. But as for everybody else, when it comes to this, I feel like it's kind of like that thing of being willing to push yourself a little bit into an uncomfortable place or take a few more chances to achieve those things that maybe you really want to do, but you keep going, it's not the right time, or that's really more than I want to take on, and yet it will be the only way I can do it is if I do take on more, kind of I get the feeling of an in-between space of activation and hesitation. And this card is like a reassurer, a confidence booster of, you can really get some great things going if you just push yourself a bit. So you can achieve great things. That's in the belfry. I mean, just imagining how high up in some, old building she must be, and is enough to make me a little tiny bit nervous. But at the same time, I know from my recent experiences that when I push myself a bit more, a lot of awesome things can happen. And that gives me an idea for another video, but I want to stop here and just leave you with this thought and zoom it in on the card and let you see this gorgeous artwork. And you may be seeing some reflection from my TV. It has a really awesome background scenery right now, not a show. I use it for added light because this area is not the best place to have lighting. Sorry for the glare, but it is so gorgeous. All right, so big hugs to everybody. I am back. I will be posting. And again, I probably will be doing some of the posting through live stream just because I feel like I don't have to download a recording. It'll go straight on and then it'll do whatever it needs to do on the other end. And it won't be all on my end here. Okay, so again, big hugs. Please keep a lookout. We're going to have some really fun stuff here, and I'm really happy to be reconnecting with everybody. So, see you in a few. Got another idea.